Yes, the Holocaust is big business because Germany so far has given the Jews, I think, at least $200 billion. So it's big business, and some of you are still getting $1,000 a month. And a lot of people don't know this. And then people don't realize who brought the slaves to America. They were Jewish ships.
But wait a minute, that's a whole nother thing. Let's take a break, because the issue that we're talking about...
Boys have gotten the herpes virus after they got circumcised. Now authorities, including the health department, are investigating this case. Now, they were circumcised by an Orthodox Jewish family. It was part of their tradition. And part of the problem is after the circumcision took place, they applied something known as direct oral suction.
Mitzitza b'peh is a practice that Orthodox Jews do when they circumcise baby boys. After they cut off the foreskin, the mohel, the circumciser, sucks the blood from the penis to sort of clean the wound. This practice really shocks people when they first hear about it, but it's a rigorously defended practice amongst Orthodox Jews.
Are you saying to me that you can put a kid's cut dick in your mouth and it not be illegal?
What's it? It's outrageous, isn't it?
It's fucking outrageous.
We begin tonight with a surprising development in the story of those swastikas painted on the door of a student at George Washington University. Good evening, I'm Doreen Gensler.
And I'm Jim Vance. Turns out the student was painting the hateful symbols herself. Jackie Benson is at the university now with more on this. Jackie?
Jim, these incidents, and there were several of them, caused a lot of concern here on the GW campus. Now, the FBI was called in to assist after swastikas kept appearing on a message board, similar to a dry erase board, on the door of a female student, she is Jewish, who lived in Mitchell Hall. Now the university confirms that a hidden camera placed in the hallway confirmed the student who was the apparent victim did it herself. News 4 spoke to that young woman who asked not to be identified shortly after the hate-filled symbols began appearing on her door. Here's what she had to say at that time.
Oh.
Who does such a thing?
I wish I knew. I wish I had any clue who this was, but university police, my house proctor, administrators, nobody can think of a motive of somebody who hates me that much.
Through the use of hidden cameras, interviews, and increased police patrols, we have concluded, and through a final interview today, investigators have concluded that the student who reported the incidents is responsible for the incidents.
Now, the university has confirmed that the student, who is a freshman, has admitted responsibility for the swastikas in Mitchell Hall. She faces student judicial action, and she could face possible criminal charges. But I get the feeling here at this point that the university just wants to see her get some help. This has been a very troubling incident for everyone here.
Herman Rosenblatt does have a real story of survival in the Nazi concentration camps, a story that is genuinely extraordinary. But as he explained to us in this exclusive interview, he felt he needed to make things up to get people to pay attention.
It's the greatest love story we've ever told on this show.
Herman Rosenblatt received international attention for his story about being a hungry little boy in a Nazi concentration camp who was thrown apples every day by a little girl on the other side of the fence. Years later, according to the story, Rosenblatt met that same girl on a blind date in New York City, and he proposed on the spot.
I used to come by every day, bring the apple, have in my jacket and a piece of bread, And he used to say, I'll see you tomorrow.
The story landed Herman and Roma Rosenblatt on Oprah twice and in newspapers all over the world. They also got a book and movie deal. But the story wasn't true. Why did you do it? Why did you tell such a big lie to so many people for so long?
It wasn't a lie. It was my imagination. And in my imagination, in my mind, I believed it. Even now I believe it, that she was there and she threw the apple to me.
How can you say it wasn't a lie? It wasn't true, and you know it's not true.
Yes, it's not true. But in my imagination, it was true.
Rosenblatt says he made the story up to give people hope and to promote understanding about the Holocaust. But members of his own family say his real motivation was money. So you were not motivated in any way by money?
No.
This is from your son. He said that he knew you were lying for years and he couldn't get you to stop. And here's his quote. It was always hurtful. My father is a man who I don't know. How do you respond to that?
I don't know. I can't respond to it. I don't know why he said that. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask him.
Herman and Roma Rosenblatt told their false story publicly for more than a decade, but it all fell apart about 6 weeks ago after Holocaust scholars proved that it was physically impossible for prisoners to approach the fence at the concentration camp where Herman was kept, and that Roma's family was actually more than 200 miles away at the time. Why did your wife agree to go along with this? Did she ever express any reservation?
Because she loves me.
Why is she not here today?
Because I don't want her to be here today. It's too much going on.
Was it difficult for your wife to have to go out very publicly and tell a story that she knew wasn't true?
It was. It was. But she loves me so much that if she thinks that's good for me, she'll go along.
Rosenblatt is remarkably unrepentant about his years of lying.
I pronounce my love for you forever.
When you look at that, does it make you uncomfortable at all?
No.
You think that was the right thing to do?
Yeah.
And while you were up on the stage there in front of all those people, in the back of your mind, were you not thinking,
no,
I'm not telling the truth here?
No.
Let me ask you just quickly about...
I didn't hear you say you agreed to it. Do we agree to that? Is that...
Our interview was frequently interrupted by this man, Harris Solomon, who says he is planning to produce a fictionalized movie account of Rosenblatt's story, despite complaints from critics. If you look on Holocaust Denier websites right now, they're using it as we speak as an example of why you shouldn't believe Holocaust survivors.
Right. And those Holocaust Denier websites would perpetuate some other story if it wasn't Herman Rosenblatt.
Rosenblatt says he wants people to know that he did what he did with good intentions. So if you had to do it over again, would you tell the same story?
Yeah.
You would?
Yes.
Rosenblatt does say that he's sorry, but he's only sorry, he says, that people took the story, quote, the wrong way. His book deal for a non-fiction memoir fell through a couple of weeks ago because of this controversy, but a fictionalized book may come out this summer, and the movie version is supposed to start shooting this summer as well in Eastern Europe, Diane, and they say they're going to carry on despite the criticism.
I simply don't know what to say. I mean, it's his imagination, but he knows it's not true.
He says he made up a fantasy world, and he was living in that fantasy world.
And his son says, tried to stop him.
Yes.
Good heavens. Okay, thank you, Dan.
Pleasure.
He has 10 newspapers between the years of 1915 and 1938. The first newspaper is The Sun of New York. New York, June the 6th, 1915. And the article is called Horrors Worse than Kishinev, Charged Against Russia Today. Since the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, the Jewish people have had no darker page in their history than that which the Russian government is writing today. 6 million Jews, one half of the Jewish people throughout the world, are being persecuted, hounded, humiliated, tortured, starved. Thousands of them have been slaughtered. Hundreds of thousands of Jews, old men, women and children, are being driven mercilessly from town to town. Dear brethren, have mercy on the 6 million Jews in Russia and take our part. The New York Times, October the 18th, 1918, page 12, and the article is called $1 billion Fund to Rebuild Jewry. There it is. 6 million souls will need help to resume normal life when war is ended. 6 million Jews need help. The New York Times, September the 8th, 1919, page 6, and the article is called Ukrainian Jews Aim to Stop Pogroms. A mass meeting hears that 127,000 Jews have been killed and 6 million are in peril. We come out now before the world with a determined slogan, "Those pogroms must stop," said the President in his annual message. It is only a question of holding these facts continually before the civilized world. We must not permit the world to slumber. This fact that the population of 6 million souls in Ukraine and in Poland have received notice through action and by word that they are going to be completely exterminated. The New York Times, the date, November the 12th, 1919, page 7. The article is called Tells Sad Plight of Jews. Felix M. Warburg says they were the worst sufferers in the war. The successive blows of contending armies have all but broken the back of European Jewry, he said, and have reduced to tragically unbelievable poverty, starvation and disease about 6 million souls, or half the Jewish population of the earth. This is the Atlanta Constitution, February 23rd, 1920. The article is on the front page here. It's called $50,000 raised in city to save suffering Jews. So I'll go to page 3. He called upon the Atlanta Jews to arise to the occasion and to contribute to the emergency fund in order that the lives of 6 millions of Jewish people may be saved. Rabbi Marks made an eloquent plea for generous responses to the call of the representatives of the Jewish Relief Fund. He drew a graphic picture of the starvation and suffering of the 6 million Jews who live in Eastern Europe and Palestine. Thousands upon thousands of our people have died of starvation and pestilence, and thousands more will die, he said. The New York Times, the date, Friday, May the 7th, 1920, page 11. The article is called The Jewish War Aid Gets $100,000 Gift. The Fund for Jewish War Sufferers in Central and Eastern Europe, where 6 millions face horrifying conditions of famine, disease and death, was enriched yesterday by a contribution of $100,000 from Nathan Strauss. Where 6 millions face horrifying conditions of famine, disease and death. New York Times, Wednesday, July the 20th, 1921, page 2. And the article is called Begs America, Save 6 Million in Russia. Massacre threatens all Jews as Soviet power wanes, declares Kreinin, coming here for aid. Russia's 6 million Jews are facing extermination by massacre. As the famine is spreading, the counter-revolutionary movement is gaining and the Soviets' control is waning. The Gazette, Montreal, Tuesday, December the 29th, 1931. Page 6. 6 million Jews face starvation. 6 million. Bad conditions in southeastern Europe reported by Rabbi Wise. Fears crisis at hand. 6 million Jews in Eastern Europe face starvation, and even worse during the coming winter. New York Times, Sunday, May the 31st, 1936. Page 14, and the article is called Americans Appeal for Jewish Refuge. The petition, in expressing the opinion of enlightened Christian leadership in the United States favouring a larger Jewish immigration into Palestine, stressed the intolerable sufferings of the millions of Jews in the European Holocaust. Great Britain has it within her power to throw open the gates of Palestine and let in the victimised and persecuted Jews escaping from the European Holocaust. The New York Times. This is dated February the 23rd, 1938. Page 23. Jewish teachers chided by Isaacs. Jewish tragedy pictured. A depressing picture of 6 million Jews in Central Europe deprived of protection or economical opportunities, slowly dying of starvation, all hope gone, was presented to the teachers by Jacob Tarshis. The Jewish tragedy started when Hitler came into power in 1933.
Yeah, it's very simple. You see, everybody says the harm that what the Germans have done to the Jews. It's grossly exaggerated. It's true, the Nazis, the National Socialist Party had some dirty, racist points in its otherwise very beautiful program, which was very successful all in all. But they had some nasty points against the Jews, this is true. And they were in the Third Reich and in Europe during the Second World War, between 100,000 and 600,000 Jews have been killed directly or indirectly because of the National Socialist system. This number is ridiculous in comparison to what the French did in Algeria, the Jews have done in Palestine, and especially the British, the Americans and the Russians have done to their people. They have killed millions. Now, what did the Jews do? When you ask what have the Germans done to the Jews, you must always ask what have done the Jews to the Germans. Since 1850, when the Jews got all the political rights in Germany, in the German Reich, they have done 3 things which are really dramatic. Number one, they were a small minority of 2% of the population. At the time when Hitler came to power, 500,000 within 60 million German people. 500,000 among 60 million. They were a small minority. This small minority managed to control about 50% of the media, to give about 70% of all judges, to have a tremendous influence in movie and in theater and in literature. They were overrepresented. This is one thing. They were absolutely overrepresented, as today in England, in France and in the United States. Second, Jews were at the origin of a lot of catastrophic financial bank crashes in Germany between 1870 and 1920. In that time, they made a lot of crashes which have, this is all documented. I mean, it's not Nazi propaganda or anti-Semitic or Arab propaganda. It's a lot of books have been published, even by Jewish Germans, about this problem. They have millions of German fathers have lost their incomes, their fortune, their savings because of these Jewish gangsters, bank gangsters and speculations people. Then the third point, which was psychologically the most dangerous of all, they have introduced into German art and culture and theater and movie decadence, immorality. The first homosexual theaters, plays, were made in Berlin in the 1920s. The first adultery theater plays were made in the 1880s and 1890s, 100 years ago, by Jewish authors. Adultery, then sexual perversions of all sorts, sadism, masochism, a lot of homosexuality, all these things, and then decadent art, you know, an art which is absolutely ridiculous, so-called modern art. It was all pushed by Jewish intellectuals, and this created among the German people a big revolt. And they wrote books ridiculing Christianity, ridiculing Jesus. I mean, it was something like Salman Rushdie with the Muslims. And there were furious reactions in Germany, and the Nazis of course benefited from it. And this is why Adolf Hitler came to power. And you see then Hitler in 2 years, from 33 to 35, he got 6 million Germans were unemployed. And within 2 years he brought 6 million unemployed Germans back into their jobs. He created 6 million jobs. It's incredible in 2 years, and this is the reason why this 6 million thing came. You see, after the Second World War, the Zionists said we must give a counter propaganda to these positive 6 millions who have found 6 million jobs positive. We must make something negative, 6 million corpses. And so came this fantastic number of 6 million, which is in every newspaper, in everything.
shekel for